This is Infants on Thrones.
Minisode.
It's Carl, the casual Satanist.
Hello.
Dr. Grayson, how's it going? What a surprise.
Oh, my boy. I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd bring you a little housewarming gift.
Oh, how nice. Come in. Thank you so much for the gift. Let's see. This is a shrine, right?
Yes, it is. And it's got a real goat skull, too. Those are hard to come by these days. These animal rights mamby-pambies are making it so you can only find the ceramic junk these days.
Well, it's beautiful. I'll just put it right here.
No, not down there. Nobody can see it. Put it up on the mantle.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, speaking of shrines, how's the sanctuary on Broadway treating you? Have you met my friend Bill Remus yet? I think he's the magister there.
Oh, no. I don't really go to sanctuary anymore.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Dr. Grayson, I appreciate the visit, but if you don't mind me asking, what exactly are you doing here?
Carl, your mother is very worried about you.
I freaking knew it. I knew it!
She asked me to come over and talk to you about some of your doubts.
Mr. Grayson.
Dr. Grayson.
Dr. Grayson. I really would prefer not to get into it.
Carl, listen to me. I see a lot of myself in you. When I was your age, I read everything I could get my hands on, and I'm aware of just about every issue out there. I've had my doubts, everyone does, but for every doubt I've had, I've found that there are answers if we're just open to hearing them. I want to have a conversation about it. You've given all that negative stuff a listen. Why not give equal time to the other side? You're an open-minded guy, right?
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is the great high priests. I mean, they're supposed to be a direct connection to Satan, but it seems like they get a lot of stuff, wrong. Like the whole animal blood thing. In the Book of Ritual, it says, the blood of animals is the source of your strength, and... wait, what was it?
The blood of animals is the source of your strength, and only therein do your rituals gain
Rituals
favor in my
your
sight.
Exactly. So it says right there that the blood is a necessary part of the ritual, right? But that was totally wrong. I mean, first of all, it was a huge safety hazard.
Well, not necessarily. I've never had an issue with it, and I've done sacrifices 3 or 4 times a week since I was your age.
Yeah, sure, granted, not everyone got sick, but Satanists got E. coli like 5 times as often as the national average for years. I know like 3 people in colostomy bags right now.
But how can you really be sure it's from consuming animal blood?
You know what? Okay, whatever. That's not really the point I'm trying to get at. The real issue is that the great high priest discontinued that practice after they got enough pressure from like lawsuits and animal rights activists. I mean, how can they be really speaking for Satan when they can just change a practice that the Book of Ritual says right there, black and white, is necessary? And why would they change because of external political pressures?
Well, they didn't change because of political pressures. They changed because the Dark Lord told them to. Otherwise, they would have gone bankrupt.
But if animal sacrifice and animal blood is as important as the Book of Ritual say, couldn't Satan have given some way for the church to be protected from that type of thing?
Well, he can't do everything for us. Otherwise, why would we need to have faith?
But what about statements the Grand Magisters made in the 70s about how the use of animal blood would never change, that it's an eternal decree and all that?
Yes. There is a common misconception that Grand Magisters and great high priests have to be practically perfect. The fact is that they're just people like you or me, and sometimes they make mistakes.
I'm not saying they have to be perfect. I just think that they should probably be accurate about the doctrines of the church. I mean, isn't that the whole point of a Grand Magister, to lead the church?
Well, I think it's inspiring that Satan uses such imperfect tools for his kingdom. Now, I was bothered by it once too, but once I stopped expecting them to be infallible, it wasn't really a problem anymore.
Okay. I still think that, messing up the whole point of having a great high priest or grand magisters is a big deal, but whatever.
Was that your big issue? That didn't seem so bad.
Oh, not by a long shot.
All right, what else?
Well, what about the whole concept of Satan?
What do you mean?
I mean, okay, the Satanic Creed says that Satan is the fallen angel Lucifer, the source of all evil, master of souls in hell, everlastingly in struggle against the tyrant who cast him out, right?
Right, yes.
Exactly, but calling Satan Lucifer is a mistake. It comes from a mistranslation of the Hebrew Bible. That chapter was actually talking about a Babylonian king, not Satan.
Oh, okay.
So how can this be his everlasting, unchanging title when it was made up like 1,000 years ago because of a mistake?
Yes, I've heard this one before, and yes, that all looks pretty convincing, but listen here, did you know that in ancient Chinese dialects, the malevolent wind that brought an early frost was named Lu Do Sif Sing? However, in later years, the name was shortened to Lu Sif, and in some villages, it's still common for people to attribute bad luck to Lu Sif.
Yeah, but
And the word
maybe,
word cipher actually comes from an old Germanic term that was originally spelled Cifer, and it means he who seeks revenge.
But it's not just the term Lucifer that's the problem. The creed also talks about a fallen angel. It's straight out of that mistranslated biblical passage. The whole concept of Satan in the creed is a fallen angel, is the source of all evil, and fights against God.
The Nazarene. The Nazarene.
Okay, fine, fights against the Nazarene. That whole idea of Satan depends on Christianity. It's relatively recent, actually.
Hold on, the idea of Satan is recent. How can you say that? What about Hades?
Hades fought against Zeus occasionally, sure, but he wasn't like the source of all evil. Plus, he was the god of the underworld, so he didn't just rule over all the people in hell or whatever. He shepherded everyone's souls after death.
Son, the concept of Satan is as old as the earth itself. Did you know that the shadows of Stonehenge make a perfect pentagram every summer solstice? And recently they discovered piles of goat bones in the area next to the altar. How do you explain that? Is that just a coincidence?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Goats were one of the first domesticated animals, like, ever. Of course, a bunch of civilizations are going to feature them prominently in their society, and the pentagram...
But why do you think they were the first ones to be domesticated?
And the pentagram is a significant geometric shape mathematically. It's the golden ratio. That's why it's so popular. I mean, if, like you said, Hades and the pentagram are satanic, then why did the Greeks associate the pentagram with Kronos instead of Hades?
They only had a corrupted version of the truth.
But if the truth was originally out there and then it got changed or something, wouldn't you expect the concept of Satan in the far past before the corruption to be more similar to what's in the creed now? But that's not what we see. If you follow the scholarly history, you can see the concept of Satan evolving into what we have now.
Carl, you're putting too much faith in what scholars and academics say.
But you're a professor. How can you say that?
Exactly, and I know how much the scholarly consensus can change. Most of what we thought we knew 100 years ago is wrong. That's not a very stable foundation, is it? But there are some things we see that I can't really explain, but I'd rather put my faith in something that's unchanging rather than the winds of scholarly consensus. In the Black Book, it says that there will be corruptions, but all things will be restored.
But the Black Book...
In the fullness of time for the glorious end.
It's not really...
You need to let me finish, young man. We are near that end, Carl. This is the fulfillment of prophecy. All these have been accounted for in the Black Book.
It's got Metallica lyrics in it! The Black Book has Metallica lyrics in it. Why in the heck would the channeled thoughts of Satan himself have references to an overrated 80s rock group?
Well, I'm not sure what to say. I could tell you that Satan speaks in the language of his oracles to bring us his message, but somehow I think you'd find a way to discredit that explanation too. I think it really depends on our willingness to trust him and to believe in his word, and I don't sense that in you.
Dr. Grayson, I'm sorry I got agitated. I just can't bring myself to put aside problems that seem so empirically obvious to me. Having faith just isn't enough for me anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that, Carl. I know you don't believe in it anymore, but the Black Book says that those who follow the Dark Lord will receive peace, while those who don't live in confusion. I feel filled with that peace, but I wonder, do you?
I don't know.
Well, I'd better get going.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for your visit in the shrine.
Anytime.
Yeah, drive safely.
Goodbye, Carl.
Okay, goodbye. Seriously, Mom? Jesus Christ.
It's Carl, the casual Satanist.
Thank you for listening to Infants on Thrones.